Hey everybody, Spot of Nerd here with a brand new episode that's gonna be quite unique. And the reason for that is because I'm gonna blow your mind here. But believe it or not, I actually thought Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was actually a pretty decent film.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Hear me out. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about the beautiful State of the Union address from whatever the hell that was.
Does immigration need to be in reconciliation? Must it be in reconciliation?
What must be what?
And I hope you'll join. So stay tuned because I think I'm just a little bit in shock. Aquaman 2 is currently streaming on Max, and I figured, what the hell? Let's check it out. It's free, can watch it, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it actually wasn't that bad. And even though it was the last film, officially, of the DC Universe live action films, you know, obviously they're rebooting everything with James Gunn, but it was the last in the franchise or genre, whatever you want to call it. There's words for it. I kind of think they went out with a bang. I really, really do. Even if you had a female character that basically got caught taking a shit on a bed. Because that's not normal. So yeah, let's talk about Aquaman first, and then we'll talk about the State of the Union and the continued destruction of America. But if you know me enough, you know that I firmly believe in this country, the freedom. I pray to God this year will come out as peaceful as possible. I am genuinely concerned what's going to be coming down the pipeline, especially this election year. But if Super Tuesday told us anything, and if you look at any poll right now, if you ask any human being with the slightest IQ above 1, pretty much right now, hopefully, Trump will be your next president. Because if anything as well, this State of the Union address that was tonight or tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, just damn. Just damn. And if you can only get through this part of my video, I appreciate it. But if you can only get through this part of my video, specifically on the politics, you know I like to dip into the politics a lot more now. Biden has been a politician for over 45 years, nearly 50 years now to this day. Can you tell me one thing, positive thing that he has done to make your life better? Just one. That's all I'm asking. Tell me one in the comments. I would love to hear it, because everything that came out of his mouth tonight was complete and absolute bullshit. But Aquaman 2 and the Lost Kingdom. I've said this before many times, and I'll say this well into the future. I am not a fan of Jason Momoa. I apologize. I genuinely do apologize if that's not how you say his last name, but that's just how I refer to him. I think he's called Jason Momoa, like the drink. I'm not a fan. I don't like his acting. I think he's terrible. I think he's a jock. He reminds me of Biff, but even that would be disrespect to Biff, the character from Back to the Future. So, many moons, again, the cliff notes, when he was acknowledged that he would be the new Aquaman, I kind of was like, you've got to be shitting me. And truly, I believe was one of the biggest downfalls, just a piece of it, to the DC universe. These characters and these actors and actresses, they don't mesh. They don't mesh with the characters that you're trying to portray from a comic book series. We obviously have been corrected on many relations. For one, Ben Affleck, as we all called him in the beginning, Batflick, he nailed it. If anything, so many of us would kill for a live action Batflick film because he really did nail that role. The way they filmed a lot of his scenes, a lot of his cameos, whatever you want to call it, whether it was Justice League, Wonder Woman, there were some other ones I think, but long story short of it, he gave us enough, even in his brief cameos, to really get us excited about the Batman that he portrayed. Gal Gadot, I will always say to this day, was the best and greatest Wonder Woman that has ever existed. The movies are truly some of the worst films that have ever been created, and that was the downfall of her. With Aquaman, yeah, you have James Wan, I believe is the director, as the director of the film, and he really did a great job from the visual standpoint, the first Aquaman film. I really, really was impressed with, like, how are you going to create this underwater Atlantis world and make it look decent in a live action sense? And he did. He nailed it. So I was really, really impressed by that. I still didn't like Jason Momoa, but I kind of bought into where they were going with it. So you kind of forgive him. Then you get Zack Snyder's director's cut of the Justice League, and you think, holy shit, there actually might be a shot here. Then the news comes out, the DC universe is going to be shut down, it's going to be rebooted, and you kind of go, what's the fucking point of even watching the rest of these films? If I believe it was Shazam, the second Shazam, which I've touched briefly on here, just might be one of the worst comic book films I've ever seen in my life. But you also had the lineup, oh yeah, there was The Flash, and then you had the last film was going to be Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. Scarily, optimistically, totally admitting it, The Flash was a good film. The one that had Michael Keaton. I know the Flash character, Ezra Miller, he's kind of a pedophile. No, he's not kind of. He is a pedophile. He's been convicted of it, so I'm not trying to be derogatory or negative. He genuinely is a horrible human being. But in the film, okay, yeah, he did a pretty good job. I can't deny that. I really, really can't. Especially when you're working alongside the great one, Michael Keaton, the ultimate Batman that ever existed. So when you finally get the knowledge of, yeah, there's going to be one more film, it's going to be Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, and that will be the last film of the franchise, it's ultimately going to be a disaster. It's ultimately going to be a bomb at the box office, and it ultimately was. But all movies eventually come to an end. Metaphorically speaking, all movies eventually end up on a streaming service. And that is usually where you and I normally watch those films that we would never pay a penny to go see in theaters. And that's a fact. Movies like that, I will not drop a single ounce of my own money from my wallet to see pieces of garbage like that. And I have to apologize. I really, really do have to apologize because it wasn't that bad. Now, let me be very clear. The movie is absolute garbage. It's trash. It's a total destruction of itself. But, hear me out. If you've ever been a fan of old school 90s cartoons, maybe old school 90s live action series like Charmed, or even some of remember Smallville, the original Flash series and things like that, it was good. It really, really was good. I mean, visually, it was stunning. I really have to give credit. The best part about this film, visually amazing. If you have a 4K TV or higher 8K TV, whatever it is, if you have a very decent television set, that's the way to watch it because it's astounding. And I have to give so much credit because you've taken this underwater world of Atlantis and you've brought it to life. Yes, 80-90% of this film is going to be CGI, but it is done beautifully. From the neons to the colors to the ocean life to even just the interactions between other characters, human as well as alien, which I guess isn't alien, they're fish-like creatures, but it just works. And I was really, really impressed by it. The story, fucking trash. Absolute garbage. It's literally a repeat of the first film. It's Manta, the guy with the big eyes. He somehow manages to get this dark evil from, like, think of, Aquaman has the trident, the good trident. Manta finds the bad trident, and the war breaks out. The Lost Kingdom was the owner of this dark trident, and he tries to get it, powers, and blah, 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 and that was pretty much the basis. My favorite, of course, being so sarcastic, it's always about climate change and how humans are destroying the world, and how for Aquaman it was the time where the Atlanteans needed to come and join forces with the surface world so that they could protect the earth from destroying itself and everything in between, and yada yada. It's the same goddamn spiel we hear in every woke-ass movie right now, and I'm gonna say it, hand on my heart. Yes, it is in your face, but it's only very briefly. And I was shocked. I was genuinely shocked, people, because you know they're gonna try and throw this down your face, down your throat at any moment they can. Of course, the agendas and the politics and all this other stuff in between. And yes, they did that, but they didn't do it so bad. And that's why I have to I have to take a step back sometimes and go, okay, I appreciate you not doing that, and you kind of stuck to the story, and you stuck to the visuals, and you stuck to some good action sequences, and thank you, people, in a weird way. So, yeah, would I recommend you go and watch this? Absolutely. I really, really would, especially if you can watch it for free. Don't pay to watch this film. The last piece I'll kind of talk about with Aquaman 2, and you have to laugh your ass off, is the Amber Heard aspect. If you're not familiar with Amber Heard, you should look into it. She's the woman who, per court documents and per court video documentation, has gone on record to basically have shit on Johnny Depp's bed because she was pissed off at him. And it was the defining moment. We don't need to go down this road. It was the defining moment in the battle between, I gotta be careful, but that culture, you know, where she obviously accused Johnny Depp of abuse and violence and all this other stuff. Turns out she was the one doing it all. So when you hear that Amber Heard is going to be in Aquaman 2, after all of that court issue and stuff that went on, you kind of wonder, number one, is she even going to still be in it, or are they just going to reshoot the whole fucking film? Or number two is, how bad are they going to cut her out of this film? I swear to you people, there's an article, many out there right now. Somebody did the math. Amber Heard is officially in Aquaman 2 for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes out of a 2.5 hour film. You have to laugh because you can tell throughout some of these scenes that James Wan, the director, did not want her in this film. But you have to have her in the film because she's technically a key character in the franchise. She's a key character in the entire basis around Atlantis. She's married to fucking Aquaman and had a baby with him. So you can't not have her in it. And the way they do it, it's good. And that's why I'm so I'm laughing because I'm in disbelief they actually pulled this off. She's in the beginning where she's a mother and she's taking care of their child, and then the bad guys turn up and she's got to go help fight, and she gets hit by this blast, which was a perfect cover to take her out of the movie for a good hour. And then the final sequence, the final fight between the good guy and the bad guy, she's got to help her husband, Aquaman, and that's it. And the movie's over. She's got maybe 2 or 3 lines, tops. But it was done very well. And again, I've said it, I know I'm a broken record. You know, if you know Spot of Nerd, you know I'm a broken record. I thought it was really good. I really, really did think they did a great job on this. And it's blowing, even just talking about it right now on this review, it's blowing my mind. Because I didn't think you could do it. Yeah, this is shit. This movie is garbage. This will never, ever, ever, ever... Nobody will be talking about this from 2 years from now, or whatever it might be. But I had to come talk to you about it right now because of just the sheer disbelief that I am not afraid to tell the world that Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, is a good film. And I kind of want to throw up a little bit in my mouth just for saying that. Now, Spot of Nerd, Cups of Tea, yeah, it's gonna get 1. But 1 cup of tea out of 4, that ain't bad. Especially, you know me where I'm very blunt and I'm very honest. If you're a shit movie, you ain't getting shit in terms of my positioning of like, you need to go see it or check it out, blah, blah, blah. I would recommend you see this film for free, because it's actually decent. Don't worry, I'll sit here and wait for your minds to blow up. So, that's that. We'll move on to the next segment and we'll just kind of wrap this episode up. But seriously, all jokes aside, Aquaman 2, if you're willing to just sit back and watch just a cheap, great, classic feeling, old school X-Men type movie, check it out. I promise you, it's just enjoyable to watch for something that maybe you're caught up on everything else and you're just looking for something else to watch. Aquaman 2 in the Lost Kingdom, sure, go for it. It's pretty good. Right, switching gears to the State of the Union that just happened this last week, or today, or tomorrow, whenever you're watching or listening to this on Spotify. I've said this in the beginning. Right now, the way the world is, the way that this country is, we are in a very, very bad spot. Your wages are lower, your prices are higher, your inflation is higher. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. You have over 7 million illegal people crossing that border, which some people might call an invasion. You have wars in the Middle East. You have people dying left and right. You have a CDC that recently just put COVID into the same category as the flu. And this man stands up in front of the entire country and tells you everything's fine, everything's great. If anything, it's better than it was previously. Please, for the love of God, tell me you do not believe that. I seriously mean that. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. You should believe this, you should believe that. You are your own human being. I've said this many times whenever we bring up topics like this. My job is not to tell you what to think or what to do. My job is to make sure that you know that there are others like me who don't buy this bullshit. We do not buy the fact that the world is a better place right now. The media, social media, the big corporate giant, tech giants, whatever you want to call it, their entire purpose, the government, is to divide. The more they divide, the more you and I look for attacks on each other, hopefully not violently, yada yada yada. Their entire job is to divide. Imagine if 330 odd million Americans came together under one realm, or whatever the word is, to fight for what is right, to fight for what is good. Imagine what we could do. Your paychecks are not better. Your living situation is not better. Crime is up, and you can find this information on every state, local, or official White House government website. Crime, homicide specifically, is up over 1,000%. And this man is standing up on a podium and telling the country it's better. You cannot be that blind to not see that it is the absolute opposite. And of course he's throwing out all these promises, even that he's going to try and cure cancer. So I'll simply remind you, because I don't want to bore you and I hopefully don't want to turn you away, because I really appreciate you watching more of me now. I've seen the numbers grow and I appreciate it, so keep it up. But this man has been in office, not necessarily just the presidency, but for over 45 years. Tell me one thing. Here's my broken record, biggest broken record moment. Tell me one thing he's done to make your life better. One. So many promises, 0 results. This is the greatest election season of all time, I believe, truly, in American history. You cannot tell me that continuing the way we are is the better way to go. When you have, like I've said, 7+ million people crossing that border, and yet we continue to give billions upon literally hundreds of billions of dollars to a war we should not even be blinking two eyes about. The world is a horrible place sometimes. Why is it always America has to step in, especially when we're told we're evil and racist and bigots and phobic on everything in between? But yet when it comes time for help, who is the number one country that always steps up? It's the United States. So when I hear $150+ billion going to Ukraine, and yet you continuously tell me through media or the news or whatever it is that the government is imminently going to shut down, bullshit. Bullshit. Do you know what $150 billion could do? Probably about 7 southern border walls. Yeah, I sound like Biden. That kind of money could build you 7 border walls along the southern border of the United States. The veteran crisis. How about the veteran homelessness? The mental state of the veterans right now that are sick, that don't have places to sleep. Everybody else in between right now. The murders, the rapes from illegals. It's insane. And I'm not afraid. Like I've said this, I'm going to be more vocal about it in a respectful way. You cannot tell me this is not by design. Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. This is simply just my opinion. As long as you obey the law, as long as you respect people, you don't hate, there's no violence, etc., so on and so forth, I don't care who you are or what you believe in, what you do, yada, yada, yada. As long as it's lawful, good, everything in between, don't go to the children, blah, 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 blah. But you have got to stop thinking that what is currently happening in this world is normal. It is not normal, and it's time to speak up about it. And I am so proud of everybody that is doing that, because I truly believe more people are. More people are awake now than ever. Just look at the 2 Super Tuesday results that just happened these last couple days or weeks or whenever it was. Trump dominated. And you know why Trump dominated? Because he showed in 3 years, that your money was better, your markets were better, you had the most peace ever in the world when it came to the Middle East, and yet you were told daily, if not weekly, that he was going to start World War III, that he was going to become the next dictator and refuse to leave office and blah, 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 blah. Funny, January of 2021, he just walked out because his term was over. He took the bow and he walked away. Yeah, he's back again, and they are desperate to get rid of him because they know right now, when you simply look at the facts, when you look at the truth, there's not a chance in hell you can beat a man that actually has progress and has made that progress known to be factual, whether it's with your paychecks, whether it's with immigration, whether it's with war. The man has done something very few politicians have ever done in this country. He's actually made what he said to be true. And I encourage you, just once. Yeah, he might not be the most good in relation to his personality, but I don't know about you, I'm kind of sick and tired of every last cent going towards bills, groceries, gas, everything in between. I'd like to one day maybe start living again in relation to just maybe traveling more. I do have a great life. I really, really do. Things have improved for me immensely over the years. Financially though, and I know there are millions more out there. I know there's millions of you out there, billions of you out there. You are petrified of what's coming next. And the only way this is going to stop is if you put your foot down respectfully and peacefully, and we make the change necessary to do a 180-degree turn and get things back on track. That's all I'm going to say right now. You know we're going to talk more about this in the future, but I just hope... I'm not asking you to change your mind, but I am asking you to simply just take a bigger look at really what's going on and what's going on in your own life. You can't tell me your life is better right now. You cannot tell me that with truth. I know it's not. But we can make it better if we all come together and make it happen. It's so possible if we just do it together. What a crazy concept. And it's also if we just communicate with each other. What a concept that is. Communication without hate or division. We can do that. It's been done before. We can do it again. But I will leave it I will leave it at that. That's all I'll say. Thank you all so much for watching and listening if you are, of course, on the podcast through Spotify. If you would be ever so kind, I would love it. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, give me a like, comment, tell me your thoughts. Have you seen Aquaman 2? I would love to know what you thought about it, because just damn. Really, just damn. And RIP to the DC universe, you know, all that fun stuff. But until next time, folks, we will see you guys next time. Later, y'all. Seriously though, with Aquaman 2, the best part about, I would say 90% of the scenes that Amber Heard is actually in the film is totally CGI. The actual physical Amber Heard, I doubt very much is actually physically in the scene. You just know when it's a CGI character, and you can just tell. It's almost like with AI right now, you can just tell, because it's so robotic the way that she's acting in the scene. It's hilarious. If anything, if you want a good laugh, just go and watch Aquaman 2.